Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. In today's video, I've been talking about the current state of Warlock tuning on 12.1 PTR and what I think probably needs to happen to get Warlock in a competitive spot. Raid testing is concluded. There was a random midnight proc of raid testing for the same day last night. It's all done. I think we have a lot of data on where Warlock stands. I want to briefly review each spec, talk about what specs are good in the fight, maybe talk about like profiles, and then go from there in this video and try and hit on what I think Warlock needs to be competitive and what needs to be buffed next tier. Now, one thing I do want to discuss briefly, I'm probably going to put this part of like this section of the video into a few videos coming up, is based around my UI and things heading into 12.1 and for the future of the channel. We're going to be shifting towards using Ellesmere UI for basically a large portion of it. Cooldown manager, resource cast bars, raid frames, party frames, nameplates, action bars. It is a phenomenal add-on. If you don't have it, whether you end up using my profile or someone else's, you should get it and use it somewhere. It is so good. It is what I had hoped the add-on overhaul and things from Blizzard everybody would have ended up being, but Ellesmere has done so much work for us. It is phenomenal. I've been optimizing like the profile that I've been wanting to use for 12.1 over the last few weeks on PTR, spending hours on stream doing it. So many hours offline tweaking it as well for little micro management things here and there, positioning like nameplates, things like the cooldown manager, everything else, to the point where I'm actually really happy with it. This is the first UI I've been like happy with, like of my own creation, although, you know, my own profiles in a very, very long time. With that being said, we are going to be shifting the model of the UI, I guess how you acquire the UI and things, to being Patreon support based and or Twitch sub based, and hopefully soon a sub through Discord as well. Hopefully in the next couple days. However, it's for a handful of reasons. And it's not simply because, oh, Callan wants more money. I'm always transparent with you guys, and we're going to be using these for a handful of reasons. Talking about them now. Number one, Ellesmere's development of this add-on is phenomenal. It is something I think needs support to keep the project going, everything else. It is utterly insane and an add-on that everybody should be using in this game. So a portion of the revenue that I make from the Twitch subs, Patreon support, all that will be going directly towards Ellesmere and his continued support of the add-on and development. Number one, I spoke to him already about this a month or so ago, saying, hey, are you okay with people taking your add-on, making their own profiles for classes, whatever? And he said, yes, I want to support him in doing so. So number one, off the bat, a portion of that going to him. Number two, also very important. One of the reasons why I feel like my UI has never been 100% where I want it is because honestly, I just don't have enough time. I've developed a lot of things, not created add-ons, made profiles over the course of alpha, beta, PTRs, and it's about like, usually about 80% of where I want it to be. There's some things I want to tweak and tune and want to change things, and I don't have the time between YouTube and Twitch and making video guides, editing the videos. I edit all my videos, except for the 3 guides that come out every patch. I'm the recorder, I'm the editor, I do it, right? Thumbnails, I have somebody that I hire to make, and they're great. I want to be able to hire, I want to be able to keep doing that and have more time to put towards other things, which is why the funds from this are going to help me be able to hire someone to help maintain the UI for you guys. Also, like if I'm at the Race World first or at BlizzCon or busy working on videos or guides, I can say, hey, I need to tweak this with the UI. Can you do this? Update it, the launcher through Discord. And having the ability to hire somebody to help me with that will give more time for more videos, more guides, more resources, everything for you guys. Support wise, giving y'all the best experience possible, because honestly I feel like I'm stretched a bit thin when it comes to everything else, and I spend so much time on the UI every alpha, beta, PTR, and I need help. So doing this, the Patreon Twitch thing will be able to help me hire somebody to give me more time and pay them, you know, with my own money generated through this and other various sources of things. And number three, I mean, it sort of ties in together, but I want to keep improving the channel. Doing this will, allow me to keep improving the channel, maybe hire an editor for more videos. I'd love to have an editor for every video. Like I said, it's just me, barring the one person, Mr. Barrett, who I hire for the 3 guides, which are phenomenal, does a great job. I want to have more editors, or I want to have more videos, I guess, edited in a sense, giving me more time to do other things, develop more stuff on stream, more keys, more ratings, more raw stream time. I need a bit of help, and being able and shifting towards this Patreon / Twitch / soon Discord sub model will help with that a crazy amount. So I want to be transparent with you all. I wanted to do this like big add-on development thing since basically Midnight coming out. I didn't have time with Midnight launch. I wanted to do it, just ran out of time. So we are shifting towards that. I know not everyone there could be some feedback on that. If you have any questions, put it down below in the description, obviously, or the comment section. I will talk about it down there. If you guys want, the UI is actually live now, which you can get if you're subbed on Patreon or Twitch, and soon coming Discord subs should have a way to get that as well. If you're subbed to any of those, the Voidwalker rank or higher for Patreon or Twitch sub, there should be a section of Discord called like Kalamazi UI. Should have sections based where to get it from, a help channel you can type in. I can help get back to you until I hire somebody, everything else and all that. I want to give y'all the best UI experience possible. And to do so, the best way to do that is to shift the model more towards what this is. Like I just noticed, this pixel's off by a little bit. I gotta fix that, but I will. So that's that. Hopefully this section didn't run too long in the video. Now, let's get into the actual content. If you want Twitch or Patreon links, all down below in the description as well. And the UI is through Wago. The Wago companion app, desktop app, and all that stuff. You get it through there, you install it, plug it in, click import, import, import. Bang, you're good to go. I will likely have like the raw interface folders as well in the next few weeks once we get, you know, a bit more stabilizing things, but that's that. I love y'all, appreciate all the support, and let's get into the actual video. Now, when it comes to the meat of this video, right, I want to talk to y'all a bit about just what I think hopefully is going to happen or should happen, could happen to Warlock as far as like tuning is concerned heading into the later parts of PTR. Now, when I say tuning, I mean like numerical changes. We're not getting, if you're holding out hope for like Affliction, single target versus AoE sides of the tree to be changed, it's not happening. If you're holding out hope for Destro capstones to be fixed or overhauled, that's going to be 12.2, if not later on. Those larger sweeping changes that affect like core gameplay are not happening at this point. Typically, it's the first few weeks of a PTR that will do that. We are way past that. Testing has concluded for all the raids, unless they add more, or we like randomly proc more midnight raid testing, like happened today. And with that being the case, it's more just going to be numerical values at this point, right? Now, I want to go over each spec here briefly. I think the big part for Warlock, when it comes to a lot of things, is just our single target is not that good. Like, I think we're okay in, like, stat cleave when it comes to, like, Demonology cleave. You got Affliction with seed spam. Destruction's in a weird spot where, like, Demo and Aff are better at that for, like, consistent cleave. Destro has Cataclysm and stuff like that as well, but, like, it's not consistent. It's a half-minute cooldown with Lake of Fire. Things run out of it. You're sort of scuffed. Rain of Fire is weird with, like, placed effects and all that. Demo and Aff do excel in that stat cleave-ish area. And I do think when it comes to this raid tier, there is just a lot... There's a lot of like stacked cleave or stacked cleave-esque fights. Looking through the raid tier currently, like, I mean, Nexali is like that. Lost Explorers is like that. Vashnik's like that. Twin Fangs is like that. Coral Altar has like some spread cleave for Destro, but a lot of these fights you get good demo cleave value or really good Affliction, sow the seeds, you know, Soul Harvest or Dark Harvest, Soul Harvester value, right? Nexali, for example, you can funnel the boss or hit the boss with Seed of Corruption and just cleave the ads down while applying half, or I guess, you know, 5th power UH to the boss. So I think a lot of it, though, just revolves around our single target damage and how all three specs sort of lack that. You can see it a lot on fights like Sazorak, which is the one Patrick bite of the tier. And although, like, yeah, like Seed Spam at AoE is relevant on a lot of fights, you still want to be able to do, like, single target / prio / funnel damage to bosses. That's where it's relevant, right? Or that's what's, you know, important as well, right? And classes that can do both of those are very good. When it comes to Demonology, I think Demonology is the spec that feels like the most, probably like just complete and ready to go as far as 12.1 is concerned. No lock specs really got changed this time around, like, barring Affliction last week because like the tier set was breaking things. But for Demonology, I mean, tuning wise, there could be some buffs here and there. I haven't seen numbers on the tier sets as of yet. I want to make a video on that when I run sims on it and stuff. I think they're being worked on now. There's some bugs, from what I understand, apparently as well, like I think it's only imploding 5 imps if you're not playing to hell and back. I could be wrong there. I feel like Demonology is fine. It does feel like it's not as strong as it is in single target this tier comparatively to last tier, which could be a lot of just based around other classes being pretty strong too. It does have that good stat cleave profile. However, there are a lot of fights where there's a lot of movement between like the stack piles of ads or the cleave you're getting and a lot of like downtime and movement. Nexali, good example. Vashnik, sort of like that too. Ads spawn here, but also across the room. Having pets run 30 yards feels terrible. That happens on Vashnik, that happens on Nexali, happens at times on Lost Explorers. Even on things like Coral Altar, not a whole lot of demo like, I mean, not a whole lot of like pet running around there, but it still feels a little awkward. But I do feel like Demonology is sort of like more or less ready to go. They could add, they could buff and nerf things a little bit. I haven't seen like a compiled list of sims anywhere for all the classes as of yet, but even when I played Demonology on a lot of fights, like Zorak, which is a heavy movement fight, is Demo trying to ramp during the winds, feels sort of rough. Even on Coiled Altar, where you have a lot of like just single target, I mean, it's just single target in phase 1. Demo's damage output feels very mediocre. It feels like it could use a bit of a bump up when it comes to raw single target. But the thing is, like, Demo really didn't change a whole lot from retail to now. Like, tier sets changed, but there were no buffs or nerfs. It's just, I think other classes got better or have better tier and everything else, comparatively to Demo just not having that same level of, like, we got bumped up a bit more. It's a really weird, like, conundrum to be in, because it's not terrible, but it's definitely not great. And there are certain points in these fights as well where, like, the more punishing mechanical overlaps come around the times where you're ramping your Tyrant. This raid's raid testing, I would say, if you ask anybody, it's been the most mechanically demanding raid testing we've seen probably in 5-6 years. Maybe back to like Sepulchre on like Anduin and Rygalon and those fights. These fights, they're good fights, but a lot of them feel really demanding mechanically. You can definitely feel a difference, like when it comes to like just half AFKing his Demo and ramping things or Apex talent compared to like here on like Zorak, trying to optimize ramp here. It takes some getting used to, some muscle memory. Things like Vashnik running around, knowing where to ramp, where to soak. Other things in Coiled Altar territory. Twin Fangs, for example, very interesting damage profile there. But when it comes to Demo, like, there's not a whole lot of feedback here, I guess. It just feels like it needs a bump up in damage in single target. That's the case for all 3 specs. But Demonology is sort of like to say, it needs a bit more oomph. Doesn't we have it? So hopefully that comes at some point. Affliction, however, is an interesting spot where... So, for those that don't know, whatever, didn't see, living under a rock like me, last week, Patient Zero was removed from the game. We have Hedonic Gorging, which increases Siphon Life damage, well, Corruption via Siphon Life, and Dark Harvest damage and Channel Value. A bit of Drain Life, Flavor, sure, whatever. The thing is, with Affliction, the issue was not addressed of single target and AoE, and that's not going to happen at this point. So we got 12-2 thing or Last Titan, who knows, man. But the tier set initially, excuse me, gave us basically 50% unstable afflictions being applied to our target of Seed of Corruption whenever we cast Seed. Now, it was bugged applying 100% value unstable afflictions on your main target, not 20 up until this week. 2 weeks ago, that 50% UA value was nerfed to 20%, but the bug for 100 still persisted. So it was still doing a lot of damage, spamming Seed in single target. So on one hand, you have just casting UA in single target, and on the other hand, you have casting Seed, which applies UA at half value, even though it was bugged at full value, but also gives you Seed explosion damage. And you also had Patient Zero stacking upon that, giving you more prio, or I guess like funnel, on that target. Patient Zero was removed and trimmed in conjunction with the tier set being nerfed the week before, down from 50 to 20%. So we've gone from a lot of like prio slash funnel, I guess, depending how you want to word it and things, with our tier set and just like Seed spam and UA in general, down to like just more being like you apply UAs, but they do very little damage. My UAs tick for like a third of the value of a corruption tick, I think, at this point. But with the removal of Patient Zero, it has sort of opened the door, I think, to them buffing not the tier set unstable affliction, but coming in and buffing baseline unstable affliction, the actual button, the ability in our spell book. Now you might be wondering, okay, what does that mean when you're playing a single target build compared to an AoE build? I played AF single target in the raid, albeit you probably want Nocturnal Yield here over something, probably like over a dot-based talent, I don't know. Because currently, the way the tier set functions, you have this 2-4-6 stacking damage amp, where you gain 2% with 1 UA active anywhere, 4% with 2, and 6% with 3, right? It doesn't matter if it's on one target or 3 UA spread among different targets. You want to have like as high up that effect as much as possible. There's a lot of like micromanagement and gaming here too as well. But if you're playing Nocturnal Yield, you have Nightfall procs, throwing a Seed gives you a UA. It's 20% value, but you get the Seed explosion damage plus the baby UA, and you get a 2% additional stack of UA, whether it's 2, 4, 6, the damage increase. Basically, it's an aura buff, right? So there's going to be a lot of like reworking and interesting like mechanical stuff with AF's rotation once things get sorted out. If you want to play Nocturnal Yield in single target, what talent do you drop for it? Do you spam Seed, or do you not spam? Do you cast Seed in a single target when you get a Nightfall proc until you enter Drain Soul range with Death's Embrace? Where does that change? A lot of little things here and there. But with Patient Zero being removed, I do sort of hope there's leeway for Blizzard to come in and just buff Unstable Affliction, because AF in single target, it seems close to Demonology in single target, but it doesn't feel like it plays the same as Demonology in single target. Having a 2-minute profile with Dark Lair and having Grasp tied to it feels terrible. You've got like a 2-minute weird CD that doesn't extend dots anymore, which is tied to Malefic Grasp on a 2-minute cooldown. It's hard getting Grasp value in the first place. You can't move. You have cement shoes on. Half these fights are throwing you across the room all the time. The one patchwork fight is Zorak, which you're running constantly around. You can't stand still for more than a second. It's so hard to get Grasp value in these fights. Coming in and buffing baseline UA, would it increase the single target of like the ST build? Yes. Would it be too much? I don't think so. I've played the ST build and it is still not very good. Like, we need single target buffs. Buffing baseline UA would also, as a side effect, buff the tier set, because it gives you an Unstable Affliction at 20% effectiveness. If UA is buffed by, let's say, 40% baseline UA, then this 20% becomes essentially more than 20% from what we've seen for the pre-buff UA, right? And that could have been a problem with having Patient Zero around. With Patient Zero being removed and everything, and Seed still applying UA, but not having Patient Zero around, I'm hoping that it opens up some doors to buffing UA, baseline, buffing the tier set in a sense, and just going from there. Then in conjunction to that, you can also buff things like Fatal Echoes. This thing feels terrible. This is still operating on a... This will, if you have multiple stacks of UA active, like 2, 3, 4, 5, it will never refresh the 5th stack or the 4th stack or a 3rd stack or 2nd stack when they fall. The only chance it has to refresh UA, unless this was fixed or some bug last week, it's if the last Unstable Affliction falls. So if you go from 5 stacks to 1, no, then it'll roll a 1 in 10 chance to refresh the 1 remaining UA when it falls. That feels terrible for a capstone. If you make it 10% for any stack, that'd be great. That would help a good bit in single target. It would help maintain Cascading Calamity, as well as add more value to things like Xavier's Gambit, UA, things in general, right? Bumping this up or fixing that, if it's a bug or oversight or adding to it, for any UA would be great. Would it be more RNG? Yeah, but at this point, man, I'll take what we can get, because we're not getting talent overhauls, right? Malefic Grasp, adding mobility to it would have been great. Didn't happen. Making Dark Lair a minute. There's maybe a world where you can make Dark Lair a minute still. It is like a numerical tweak, but honestly, it probably wouldn't be that bad. Making Dark Lair a minute, making Grasp a minute by, design or whatever, would be really strong. It would make AF feel a lot better. 2-minute Dark Lair with the way Grasp is tied to it in a clunky manner just feels sort of bad. So maybe you can adjust this to 1 minute. Look at Fatal Echoes, buff baseline UA, and then maybe look at buffing the tier set if you don't want to buff baseline UA, or buff both. But Affliction also is in a spot where it needs single target help. Whenever Sims come out for all the classes in a compiled list, which is probably coming in a few days, I'd assume, locking will be that high. We're getting blasted. So there's that. Moving on to Destruction here. Hellcaller is dead, by the way, for AF. Why we removed Seed of Corruption from Malevolence and like Wither Black and stuff, I have no idea. Please add Seed back to this. Hellcaller is just, you have 1 talent, basically. Why we deleted this from the game, I don't know. Then when it comes to Destruction's also in a weird spot where there are a handful of fights this tier where you're playing Destruction, right? And even looking back at Affliction a second ago, right? Like, the fights this tier, I'll make a video on this too, but the fights you're playing, the fights just here, like right now, the Affliction fights are probably Nexali, maybe Lost Explorers, Twin Fangs, and maybe Vashnik. But you're playing these fights not because Affliction is good at dot damage. You're playing it because Affliction is good at spamming Seed. Like, you don't care about your dots. Your agonies fall half the time. You don't even care. You're just spamming Seed and hitting Dark Harvest. That's not what Affliction should be built around. Just spamming Seed and everything. But this fight's raid tier is different, or it's unique. On Twin Fangs, casting Seed with cleaves both snakes all the time. The 3 ads spawn behind you, turn around, seed them down with Dark Harvest, right? Vashnik, a bunch of ads running around, you can hit the boss with Seed, pop in the ads, otherwise roll some UAs. Lost Explorers, there's 2 stack targets the whole time. Play Destro, play AF here. Nexali, bring the boss with the ads, cleave it all down with Seed. You're not playing AF because AF is good at single target. You're playing because you can just spam Seed everywhere, and that feels bad, right? It's not what AF should be functioning as. Buffing UA would make a difference there. Destruction's in an interesting spot as well, where like you're probably playing Destro right now on Tomb Sentinels, spread cleave. You're playing Hellcaller Destro here. Lost Explorers could be Destro, like Mayhem cleave, 2 stack targets. We'll see where it goes. And then probably like maybe Twin Fangs, depending where AF lands, and Coral Altar, probably Hellcaller Destro. But at the same time, like the damage output of these specs of Destro when it comes to like Entomb Sentinels, the spread cleave fight, where you have one here, and you have like people standing in the middle of the room, like Boomkin, Shadow Priest, Astral Locks. It's sort of how like Amalgamation Chamber felt, how Carnage, Cauldron Carnage felt. Hellcaller Destro does cleave a good bit there, and it feels pretty good. And the damage output's pretty good. However, there was a change Destro snuck in last week, and it was to the tier set. So they made the 4-piece of Destro give you a 6% damage increase on whatever target is hit by your Echo Sargeras, which is our Apex talent, right? Now, the issue here, I'm coughing up a lung here. The issue here is that at some point in time, I don't know when this happened, but at some point in time, they've changed the way that like Mayhem and Havoc function with Echo Sargeras. In the past, I heard it changed last week. I don't know. In the past, if you were hitting your Havoc target, like for example, let's just do this. Keeps hopping off my bars, I don't know why. If you were hitting your Havoc target here, right? Let's say we're over here. This is Havoc. And I was hitting this, I had Echo proc on this thing. It would hit both simultaneously. But if we watch now for the red fire beam of death, waiting, it does not. In the past, it would proc here and here at the same time exactly, but it's not doing that anymore. See how it procs differently? That was just 2 random procs. Now, the issue, once again, random, not over here, not over here. The issue is that in conjunction to the tier set changing to 6% for the 4-piece, they aura nerf destruction by 5%. So in single target, you maintain this effect from Echo Sargeras pretty much the whole time. It never really falls. It's about a wash as far as the nerf is concerned, right? 5% aura nerf, but maintaining a 6% passive buff, pretty much a wash. When it comes to spread Hellcaller cleave, though, on things like Entomb Sentinels, on things like Coiled Altar, which you might play here too for phase 2 cleave and phase 3, without having this procking on both targets simultaneously, that 5% aura nerf that came in is actually pretty impactful there, because you're not cleaving both targets with this effect on it, right? You're cleaving one. It procced here twice, hasn't procced here once, procced here twice, hasn't procced here once, doesn't proc once, hasn't proc once, so third time. This has not had a single Titan proc on it at all. So this is taking 6% more damage. Well, this is taking 0. Comparatively to before the change, where you basically have both taking 5% more damage before the aura nerf came in. So I think we probably could just revert the aura nerf and tune the tier set a bit. Maybe like turn it down to like 3 or 4%, something like that. But the fights that like Hellcaller Destro felt good on were, I mean, the spread cleave fights. Like, I guess you have stat cleave here on Turtles, but Entomb Sentinels, and maybe here due to the damage profile. But even when it comes to these fights, where you have these Hellcaller or these Havoc cleave fights as Destro, or whatever spec feels like it should be good here for like dot damage to AF, we just don't. We're getting beat by DKs and Hunters and Boomkin and Shadow Priest, and some of them are overtuned, but it just feels like we have these really good profiles for these fights, and I'm playing it properly. Like, not even just me, we're all playing it properly, but we're just doing like way less damage than everybody else. And I think it's a mix of a couple little things need to be tuned still, a couple little bit of buffs and nerfs need to come in. Some classes are overtuned for sure as well, right? But I think if you see Sims coming out for like single target, which is not really even the raid tier on its own, it's more like stat cleave, meat grinder stuff, it's in spread cleave. Lock ain't gonna be doing it well. I think Lock's one of the lower classes when it comes to raid testing this time, unless you're getting fed PIs and externals and things, right? It looked pretty subpar. So we're getting into that point in the patch where tuning is coming. It's already starting to happen. Hope, fingers crossed. Maybe a bit of an aura buff to Destro. You can nerf a tier set a bit if you want. UA buff to AF. Demonology, a bit of an aura buff. I will see where it goes. I don't know. But this is what I wanted to hit on. There are a couple other things here and there too. Like Destro captains are a mess. That's like a 12.2 thing or beyond. I don't know what to tell you there. Just sort of is what it is. But either way, I think it's important to get this feedback out there because, I mean, Blizzard has internal numbers. They have tuning numbers. I'm sure we'll look at it on their own, but it needs to be looked at because, you know, testing is over and I'm a little worried. But at the same time, being bad during testing is not always a bad thing because the people that are up top get the attention. They get knocked down. Full-on baseball bat Negan style. But then, the Walking Dead reference, Negan. But then the ones that are bad get better and they get buffed. So we'll see where it goes. But thanks for watching, guys. That's it. If you didn't watch the part of the video at the start with like the important timestamp and everything about like the UI stuff and Patreon and everything, please do. It's very important to me. And it took me 10 recordings to do that because it's a topic that I've been trying to formulate a way of discussing for a while. That's that. I want to give you all the best options to play this game possible, all the above, and that's the plan. So like always, thanks for watching, guys. I love y'all. I'll see you all again soon. Good night.